this is Katie Hornor with Paradise Praises, and this is lesson number 1 in our homeschool organization. Today we're going to talk about the non-negotiables. What do we need to know when we're setting up our school year so that we can set it up for success? The first thing you need to know is your non-negotiables. What is it that I absolutely have to have, I have to complete, I have to turn in, I have to record for this year? You want to know what that is to start out with, so that you can get organized from the get-go. So some of those things are going to be things like, how many days of school do I have to have? What does my state require of me to record as far as, do I have to record attendance? How many days? Do I have to record the curriculum that I use? Do I have to have test scores? Do I have to have grades? What kind of grading scale do I need to use for my state? And so some of those things are the things that are non-negotiables and that I need to know from the outset. Is there a certain calendar year that I have to follow in my state or in my country? And so those things are going to help us start out. Now, if you're in the United States and you don't know where to find those regulations, you can go to hslda.org, and they have an interactive map there where you can click on your state and it will take you directly to the homeschool requirements and regulations for your state. So check out that hslda.org. It's Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and if you're not a part of them, I highly recommend that you join, because they will help you. If anyone ever were to come to your house and demand to see your homeschool records or start asking questions, you can actually close the door in their face and refuse to allow them in unless they have a search warrant. And you could say, I can't talk to you until I call my lawyer, and you could actually call the Homeschool Legal Defense Association if you're a member, and they will walk you through what you should and should not say to anyone who is inquiring about your homeschool. Okay, so it's a really nice peace of mind for lots of parents, and they have actually been successful in protecting the rights of lots of homeschool parents. So I highly recommend the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. Now, with our homeschool schedule, when you're talking about your entire year's schedule, I recommend that you start with prayer, that you don't compare your family to other families. What the Lord has given you to do is different, and your children are different, your family dynamics are different. Don't compare. Other people may homeschool in the morning, you may need to homeschool in the afternoon or in the evening. Don't compare with other people. There is no right or wrong when you're homeschooling your family. You need to do what fits your family. You also need to know your absolutes and your variables, like I just said, your state requirements. Then you also want to look at your holidays. You want to look at, do we have music lessons or sports lessons this year? Do we have trips coming up or vacations planned? Do we have appointments or surgeries or anything like that that's going to play into our entire homeschool schedule? Get all of those set out from the beginning so that you know on a calendar when those dates are, what is required of you. And then you can plan your school year around that. See, with the public school system, they tell you what your dates are. They tell you when you can make appointments and when you can take vacations. But with homeschool, we can plan those important events for our family first, and then we can plan our schooling around that. And that is one of the incredible, awesome things about homeschooling, is that your schedule can be subject to your life rather than your life subject to your schooling schedule. Now, what do I use when I do this? There's a couple of things that I like to use. I like to use a whole school year at a glance. So I'll get my whole calendar year, my 12 months of the year, all on one paper, and then it's easy for me to outline, like the picture on the left there. It's easy for me to outline or to highlight the days that we're going to not do school. So I might mark those in red. Okay, for instance, so if we're going to take a vacation in October, or if we've got a conference coming up in February, whatever it is, if there's trips with Daddy, or if there are appointments or families coming in to visit, or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and put those on the schedule first, and I might put those in red because we're not going to do school in those days. And then I'm going to fill in any dates that I know we're going to plan field trips or music lessons or things like that. A lot of homeschool families may do homeschool 4 days a week, and then they'll take that 5th day and plan all of their outside activities on that day. So music or sports or extracurricular things might be on that 5th day of the week. It's still schoolwork, but they're not at home in the books and papers during that day. And so put all of those on the calendar, right? And then you can go back through perhaps with a green or with an orange or something like that and mark your 180 days or however many days of classes that you need to have to fulfill your requirements for your state for this school year. Get that on the calendar, and then once you have it on the calendar, it's not a negotiable. We can't wake up today and be like, oh, I just don't feel like doing school today, we're going to skip it. No, you can't, because today is a school day, and if we want to take off, if we want to not have to work when we're on that trip, or not have to work when grandma's here, or not have to work, take our schoolwork to music class, music lessons, and do it while we're waiting for sister or brother to get done, then we need to do school today, because today is a school day and that's on the calendar. And so then once you've set that calendar with all of these non-negotiables involved, then you know what's going on, and it helps you as a parent to be firm with the schedule and say, no, today is not a negotiable day. We cannot decide we don't want to do school. If we have other things planned on other days, today is a schoolwork day. We must get it done. And so it helps you to be more regular with your schedule as well. Now over on the right, you'll see another chart that I have, and this actually lists the months all out on one big long line. And it starts with August and goes down through July. Now this is my attendance record, and I'll have one of these for each of my children. And every day that we do an educational activity, we put a check mark on those things. So this is the alternate way of keeping track of your attendance, is to actually put a check mark in every day that you do an educational activity. And then you can easily count up all those check marks at the end of the school year and total up how many days of class that you have. You can also record your sick days or your half days or your field trips and things like that on that kind of a sheet. And then the one in the middle is a goal sheet, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in one of the other classes here, as far as how we set our educational and developmental goals for our homeschool children every year. Okay, so your schedule, again, you're going to set your goals, you're going to know your non-negotiables, you're going to make your plan, and then you're going to work your plan. And then you're going to evaluate and adjust. Now, a schedule is only as good as it is flexible. I know life happens. With 5 children and ministry full-time and all kinds of stuff going on, I know life happens. So your schedule is a schedule to go by, and it does help you to be firm and say, yes, we're doing school today. It's a school day on the calendar. However, when life happens, you also have to be flexible to that. So you can adjust. If you end up going a couple days past or a couple weeks even past when you thought you would be done with school, that's okay, because you have the flexibility to adjust your schedule based on what the Lord sends you for this school year. And so you can be flexible with that. But it goes so much better when you have a plan set out from the get-go. So I'm going to encourage you to click on the links below this video to get these downloadable forms, the calendar form, the attendance form. Go ahead and print those out. Use them to start scheduling your homeschool year for the following year. Set up those non-negotiables first, and then plan your school days around that. And then in another lesson, we're going to talk about how you actually plan your lessons for each day, especially with multiple ages of children. But for now, just to organize your main non-negotiable homeschool schedule for the entire year, your big overview picture, these are the things that you're going to use. You're going to use a one-year calendar. You're going to get a list of all of your non-negotiable activities for the next year, and you're going to have an attendance form. And you're going to want to get those filled out and ready to go so that you know ahead of time what's coming, when we're doing school, when we're not, what activities are coming up, and it will make your entire school year schedule go much, much smoother. If you have any questions, be sure and email me at katie@paradisepraises.com. I'm happy to answer those questions for you, and we'll see you in tomorrow's class.